be. You know, what's up, fam? It's your boy Demuir here, Purveyor of All Sounds Underground. Thank you for joining the Industry Noize podcast with Wasteman 10. And yes, so today, Juan, what are we going to be talking about today? You want to talk about DJ Sneak, digital ownership content versus playing.
I think that's one of the
traditional game.
Yeah, I think that's a very interesting topic because that kind of bleeds into Purveyor leaving Spotify.
Oh yeah,
and SoundCloud.
Yeah. So
it kind of goes side to side. So let's start off with DJ Sneak. Obviously, he is no longer accepting digital promos, only vinyl.
Yeah, I think I think there's a couple ways to look at this topic and conversation because we've done it on our own YouTube channel, talking about the power of content ownership.
Yeah, we've done a few videos.
And content ownership and the power of Patreon, which we've seen, and it's not going to go away. Quite frankly, I'm going to continue that and I already have, some gig dates coming back up already. Oh, really? So, yeah. So we, I think Patreon as a source of a platform that allows me to monetize my content above and beyond SoundCloud, digital retailers, all of that stuff is just, it just makes sense. It's the right thing to do. So, I mean, I don't know why people thought Sneak's position was controversial. I didn't see it as controversial. I pretty much agree with a lot of what he's saying. I don't think the
problem was with taking back ownership. I think the problem that a lot of people saw was only accepting vinyl as promos in that post, right?
Yeah, I mean this vinyl thing, man. Like it's fucking. I don't give a fuck. On vinyl. I mean, really, but I don't give a fuck about vinyl. Like honestly, like I love vinyl. I have a pretty big collection myself. I use it to.
Sample and shit, yeah.
To sample stuff and shit and make my own beats and stuff. So don't get me wrong. I love vinyl and the vinyl culture and stuff, but I'm also a realist. They don't make CDJs. They don't make CDJs for them not to be used, is what I'm saying, right?
100%.
And I'm not interested in lugging. Yeah, I'm not interested in lugging fucking, 30, 40 pounds of fucking records.
Yeah.
Those days are done. Like and sometimes you lose them or whatever, but I mean, whatever. It works for Sneak. He's streaming out of his own home. There's people who are nostalgic with that. And if he feels he's tapped into a market, go fucking get it. But in terms of practicality, you're not going to change the world just because you play vinyl. Like,
do you think it really does make a difference to play with vinyl? Like, my question is, do you think the crowd really gives a fuck? Do you think they care if you're playing on vinyl or CDJ? Because
I don't. Yeah, no.
Sound difference. They're not going to notice.
I don't think. Listen, man. I think the only people that fucking care if you're playing vinyl is that the 10% of the 10% you've heard me talk about in the industry crybaby. Yeah, well, but those fucking God, what's the term I'm looking for, man? Those DJs, they're just standing there with their arms crossed, fucking critiquing.
They're like, I can do better than this guy and all that.
Yeah, critiquing the whole set and like, they got their. I mean, it's almost like they fucking hold up boards or signs of, oh shit, like here's how that set went, here's how that fucking transition went. Retarded. Like I think it's a very small portion of people who care about that. And I think most people, considering who's going to clubs, who's going to festivals right now, they don't give a fuck. Like,
they don't give a fuck, especially
they know they can go grab
a. You're listening everything digital, and the funny thing is, Sneak uses a V10, right?
Yep.
So he's going from analog to digital.
Yeah, but it's about context, right? I don't think when he says digital, he's talking about digital promos that whole fucking game.
But I feel like
you
if
go
that's
into your
mentality
record
that you
box.
adopt, it kind of screws over smaller artists. Let's say DJ Punts or Hey Dan. They don't have the kind of money to fucking go and print records, right? So if people start adopting that mentality, it could be something that is harmful to smaller artists. Not such a big deal for you, where you actually have records on vinyl, and you don't mind spending the 1,000 occasionally to get a fucking press or whatever, or talk to a label and all that. But for smaller artists who, let's say, make genuinely a good song, do they really have that kind of money to fucking spend on vinyl? I think that could be very harmful in general to the industry as a whole.
Yeah, I mean, listen, man. Like I said, I think, I really think, I really think it doesn't matter. I'm just being straight up about that. I don't think people care. And the people that do care are the ones who have that passion and niche for that. Like they're the types that will be dancing and then walk over to the DJ booth and see what you're playing and how you're playing it. Those people are the extreme minority.
The problem is they're the worst too. They're the worst people to deal with.
Well, why are you saying they're the worst, dude?
Oh, come on. The guy that comes to the booth goes, "Oh, what is this guy playing?" Fucking, has his shit there. What are you playing? Like, it just gets to a point where it can be irritating, right? So it's just one of those things that it's just, I don't know. Those people I've met before. And
I think you're judging, man. I think you're judging right there. But that's not
all they
do.
That's
what you do. You judge.
He's playing on Techniques. He's playing on Pioneers. He's like, those motherfuckers. Like, so I find that kind of stupid. Man. Ownership to me, that whole thing makes sense.
You know what? I love me some DJ Snake. I mean, we've done a lot of tracks and songs together. We've released together, remixed each other in different ways to Sunday. So it's all good. But he needs to explain this shit to me. What does it mean that records don't lie? I don't fucking understand that. I have to ask him that. I always mean to, and then I'm like,
call him right now. Call him live.
No, what the fuck does that mean, man? Records don't lie. Like, what?
Maybe he's saying that, a ghost artist or ghost producer or something.
Makes sense. You can have a ghost producer on a fucking vinyl record, so I don't think it means that.
It's just a form of media. I don't know, and it's a form of media that at this point, fuck it, let's bring cassettes back then.
Or maybe sync. Maybe that's what he's referring to. You don't get a sync option on records. Whatever.
Yeah, fair enough, but even then it's just, I don't know. That to me, that the idea of the sync button and people hating on it it's kind of stupid.
Well, okay, hold on a second. I don't really fuck with the sync button. I
don't fuck with the sync button either.
I don't fuck with sync either. But why? What are you saying? The reason
why is because if someone can produce a set that really gets the people moving, right? Maybe they're not the best at beat matching. Does that mean they're awful at it? At DJing?
Yeah, that means they're awful at it. If you can't beat match,
no, I'm not saying if you can't beat match perfect. You can beat match and occasionally use a sync button to do especially tricks, right? If you're trying to bring down both tempos at the same time to match up, right?
No, man, you don't need a sync button to do that. Fuck are you talking about?
It's easier. It's one of those things that if you can get the crowd moving because your song selection is so good, the crowd won't give a fuck. Yeah, of course, there's the 10% of the 10%, right? The very small minority, the 0.01% of the crowd, right? They're gonna be like, oh my god. But in the reality of things is they don't care, right? They're just enjoying it. And if your music selection is so good that they don't even notice, to me, I think that's fine.
Sure.
Right?
Sure. I mean, sync as a creative tool. I just can't really get with that. Here's my problem.
Don't have master tempo on for that logic. Oh yeah, you're not doing it properly. Don't have fucking master tempo on. It's an assistant.
What are you talking about, man? Master tempo just allows you to move the pitch of the song without affecting the key of it.
Yeah, exactly. But that's not
the speed of the song. Oh, bro, it's not. I don't see it as the same thing. Listen, my problem with sync as it pertains to the conversation of beat matching is sync is not always good.
No, sync's not always good. But
right. So it's better
to compensate it. Then you're fine.
No, man. I like that doesn't make like to me. That's just it's a personal preference. It's just not how I play. I think you should have your ears trained to beat match shit, and beat matching sometimes requires that one record is moving a little faster than the other on CDJs.
Yeah,
on CDJs. Okay, like because of the way the percussion is played. Because
I know what you mean. Sometimes the kicks.
You know what I'm saying, right?
I know what you mean. Yeah.
I just think removing sync, like Spark. I don't even think you should really use it to be honest. Loop stuff is fine, and other people say, well, if you're using loops, then you're syncing. Well, to me, using loops is you're extending the song, or you're getting creative in a different way.
You can remix it live
with the mix in your performance, right?
I like using on
you're remixing on the spot.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know. Just to come back to what we were talking about, I got to ask him what that means because I don't fucking understand it. And I think this final thing, it is what it is. It's a niche market. If he could tap into that and play and cater to that crowd, go for it. But the digital shit ain't going away.
It's a 45 and over club.
Wow.
that's what the market. Bro, no one under the age of 45 gives a fuck. These motherfuckers don't care.
What are you talking about? There's fucking 30-year-old DJs out there that are
45 and up plus hipsters.
Finals. Yeah. If you're in Europe, finals.
No, it's 45 and up plus hipsters, bro. That's
shout out to our European audience. Finals.
Finals.
I'm not trying to mock you, but I'm just trying to every time I see Vinos, I fucking die. I don't know. Every time I see it spelled out or someone says it, I just bust a fucking gut on the spot.
The European mans are a little different, They claim they basically invented techno and tech house and all that.
Oh fuck! That's a conversation for a whole other podcast.
That's a whole other episode on its own.
We will get into it.
Eventually,
yeah, man.
It's a long conversation.
For sure, bro.
But I guess this leads perfectly into the next point, which is Purveyor leaving Spotify.
Oh yeah, my label Purveyor Underground leaving Spotify. Now I think this is. I don't think this is controversial at all. I had a couple people say, "Wow, that's really brave. You're removing your catalog from Spotify."
That is pretty brave because for me, I use Spotify. I don't use anything else.
You don't use Apple. What? Like as a Gen Zer or a Z if you're in the US.
Yeah.
Why aren't you using Apple Music?
Because I want to play Spotify on multiple platforms and it is very awful in compatibility. So let's say on my desktop, I run Windows. Running Apple Music doesn't run that great because it's a web browser, unlike the actual app, which is an actual built-in software app. So it runs very nice on my processor, right?
But you could get iTunes for PC, no?
Oh, bro, iTunes for PC sucks.
That's bad. All right, I haven't used it. I haven't used it in a long.
No, and the worst part is the fucking updates that it keeps asking you to do. It's such a nightmare. Like every time you start it's like an update. It's deadly. But
okay, so
that's the point.
So you like Spotify?
It's convenient. Everyone uses
for the biggest reason that a lot of people like it is for the convenience. I removed
services, right? Not download music directly on our phones.
Fine, but I get that stuff. Purveyor Underground is removing the catalog from Spotify, just mainly from the way they operate directly conflicts with Purveyor Underground's values and how we value music, culture, and artists. And Spotify is the fucking worst with their plays and streams. And I think the other thing that they're doing that is so awful is that they're actually marketing quite heavily the intention to convince artists that the amount of streams and the amount of followers you have mean more than your value as an artist.
Yeah, the problem is
if you think about that, they heavily market that with their Wrapped results and then they send you all these stupid emails like, oh, we have this class coming up on how you can effectively market your music online through social media. It's like, motherfucker, I shouldn't have to do that. Like
Yeah,
you
no,
should just be paying
it should just be a
better.
platform to easily grow, which it's not. Fucking Spotify is awful for discovering new artists. It really is. It's not a SoundCloud, because SoundCloud is really decent at that. And B, they pay such a low commission, such a low fee for each stream that when you really get down to the numbers, man, you know, although someone like Drake is earning a lot, he's not earning a lot for what he is, right?
No,
Being
exactly.
someone with like 4 songs in the Billboard or 5 songs Billboard Top 100, that motherfucker is not making enough.
Listen, man, I saw a picture of Drake eating pasta, and he had his billion streams from Spotify plaque on the bottom of it, almost acting as a tray. I wonder if he was being symbolic about that. But I actually did the math on that, and it's like, to your point, it equates nowhere near his value. So, like, you know, Spotify for me, and what Purveyor Underground stands for, and the audience that we attract, we don't need to be on fucking Spotify. We just it just became more of a source of frustration for me. And as an artist, as myself, signing music to other underground reputable record labels, and just to see the revenue continuously decline because of this motherfucker called Spotify, and because of this bullshit, make a radio edit for Spotify. And I'm not ignorant. I get why you don't want the extended mix on Spotify versus song. Yeah, you know, or like that pussy on our, when we did that EDM sucks video. All I heard was 6 minutes of boots and claps. Oh, yeah, that motherfucker. Yeah. Like, shut the fuck up, bro.
The worst thing, you know what I'm saying? You know, I've heard their tech house playlist, you know, the tech house playlist, and I'm looking at it, I'm like, man, all these artists, I would, like, the motherfuckers will categorize, like, fucking, I don't know, they'll categorize some random shit as tech house, and then they'll categorize techno as tech house, and I'm like, what?
Yeah, it's all, listen, man, it's all.
So what do you think of Tidal then?
It's all bullshit. Well, Tidal is done. They got bought.
By who?
I forget, but it sold for just under 300 million, 297 million. Yeah, man. You know what? Tidal was done for me when Jay-Z contradicted himself. And I love Jay-Z, okay? But remember, this is the whole thing with Purveyor Underground, right? We have an ethos that says music first, artist first, and we stand by that. We're transparent. And that's what we do. Jay-Z, when he started Tidal, I remember you got fucking Madonna, Daft Punk, all these fucking crazy, all these artists up on the stage. Yo, we're gonna pay you more. And I think he had best intentions. But then I would say probably maybe 2-3 years ago, he put his catalog on Spotify. Yeah. No, but hold on. So that told me he's breaking from the whole ethos of what Tidal started out to be.
To me, the way I
because he kept his catalog off of Spotify. He said, I see the bullshit you guys are doing with your stream. Like, at least that's how he and his team marketed it, and he had everything under Tidal. And then once he put the catalog there, I said, okay, now I know he's exiting Tidal. And it was just a matter of time, and that happened. They sold for 297 million.
You know, to me, the way I saw it, because what was that album that he had originally just published? 444, right?
Yeah.
444. I remember when that shit came out, because the story of OJ was on there, and that shit was a Tidal exclusive, and I'm like, fuck, man, like, it's one of those things, because I do like listening to Jay-Z occasionally. I'm just like, well, maybe I should switch to Tidal, and the whole thing also had better audio quality, which to you and me, that's a nice big deal, right? Especially right now. The more because to me, I think I'm spending more on audio equipment in my car than I am on my car, and I want to hear audio nicely. And you know, Spotify is okay. You know, Spotify to me is on par with SiriusXM, or just a convenience factor. But for me, I like having just a raw file, like the WAV file on my phone, so I can just hook it up directly and have good audio. And to me, the whole idea of Tidal having that good ass audio was a big deal. But if there's not even the artist to match it, right? If I can't listen to my favorite songs on there, what's the point? And Apple,
it wasn't convenient enough for you to move over, and that I think that's part of the unfortunate dilemma with Spotify. I really don't give a fuck, because Purveyor, we make club music. We're not making music for people to casually listen in their homes. And I also think, streaming as a technology is still good for its convenience in playing and discovering music. It just doesn't have to be Spotify. And here's the other thing I want to put out there for perspective. You might have problems with Apple Music right now, but remember, Apple has done a great job at bundling their services between iCloud, Apple Music, and what's the other one?
Okay, sorry to interrupt. Quick question.
Oh, Apple TV. Apple TV. Hold on. Let me just finish my point. So they've done a great job at bundling these things for the same price of a Spotify premium membership month over month. So I do think they're going to slowly eat away at that subscriber base, although I don't really care. And the other thing is they pay a better rate per stream on Apple Music. It's just fact. And here's the other thing too, that I think artists and producers should not be afraid of in terms of, oh, well, if I'm not on Spotify, it's almost like I'm nowhere. No, that's not the point. Amazon really hasn't pulled the trigger on streaming yet. They got Amazon Music.
They have, but in Canada it sucks. In America it's usable.
No, but okay, what I'm saying to you is we can all agree that Amazon hasn't pulled its dick out yet.
No,
when it comes to streaming. But when that happens, you watch out. So I rather just not fuck with Spotify right now. And my last reason of Spotify is the facts are they're losing tons of money. They're the TTW, the trailing 12 TTM, sorry, trailing 12 months is, I think, at a loss of, ironically, it's similar to the title sale price at $292 million. And that was published by Forbes. So I don't give a fuck about Spotify. Fucked up. And I just see, and it's obvious they don't care. They say they're cutting down on streaming farms, but they're not really. If anything, they're encouraging the shit. And it's just straight bullshit. So I'm happy to leave. We'll be off their platform as of April. And we got the likes of Joe Budden as well.
Yeah, on Patreon.
Who I actually checked Spotify because that's where I used to listen to his podcast. And the whole fucking thing's gone.
Is it?
Oh yeah, it's gone. He took everything down. I love it. I love it. So.
Is Purveyor gonna have any other platforms other than Apple Music? Because to go back on your point, you said they bundle iCloud and Apple TV and all that. So here's a question. Let's say someone, because basically that's perfect if you have an iPhone, right? That's perfect if you have an iPhone.
Yeah.
But what about the other 50% of the world that doesn't? Sorry, the other 50% of North America that doesn't have an iPhone, let alone Europe, which most of them don't have iPhones. In Germany, only about 20% have iPhones. The rest are Androids.
Listen, man, I think, like I said, streaming as a technology is not going away. I was mentioning the Apple bundle situation because Apple is in a very different position than Spotify is financially.
Yeah.
They're not losing fucking money. So when you're in a company where you're not losing money, whereas Spotify does all of these, in my opinion, shady, desperate things. Like streaming farms is a known thing, and they don't go after them as aggressively as they should. But they allow it to thrive as another market because they make money from it because they need it.
Yeah.
So, whereas with Apple, I mean, they're in an entirely different position. And that's why I mentioned the Amazon thing too, because I think between Apple and Amazon, I think artists and record labels have choices here. You don't have to just fuck with Spotify.
So my question again is: are you going to do any platform other than Apple Music?
Yeah, Amazon and Apple.
Oh, you're on Apple. You're going to go on Amazon Music?
We're already on there.
But you're not going to do something like YouTube Music?
I don't. YouTube. I'm not too sold on that.
Yeah, to me, I was a
YouTube
subscriber
Music.
back when it was still called Google Play Music, and Google Play Music was really good. Like I
Yeah.
preferred it over
What did you
Spotify.
like about it?
It was very easy to find under. Remember when the story I told you about me finding Sebastian Lager, whatever.
Yeah, the French dude.
Yeah,
Yeah, I met him. We kicked it in Amsterdam, man.
Oh, did you?
Sebastian Leger, yeah, man.
Yeah.
He used to make some really dope fucking French touch
The way
house, man.
that it was done, it was the playlists were done. They were curated by people at Google, but the people fucking knew. Like that was in the waking up music category. Like if you wanted to find underground music, Google Play was amazing because you just play Waking Up in Ibiza and you would find like the most underground like that. Like, and I was just like, this is awesome. Like I loved it for that reason. I have a lot of songs that I got because of that. Right. I have to still find it, but I have a lot of music that I found because of it. Because the people that got to curate the music were not like fucking the people at Spotify where they're all like EDM fans and they go, oh, let's play Fisher on everything. Fisher's tech house, techno house, like EDM. Like these motherfuckers put it under every category, right? It was actually motherfuckers that are into that music, like people that actually have been to Ibiza and all that, and they know. Yeah,
they know the culture. Like
they know the culture, and that was for everything.
Fans,
right?
Yeah.
So that's what
I think that's one of the biggest damage collateral that has come out of the whole commercial EDM bullshit stuff. When people see like Marshmello and that fucking Steve Aoki and Garrix and all of that bullshit, it's not the real deal stuff. Like, so you have
the category of EDM
tons of fucking people, generation like who've been exposed to that, and then they land these types of jobs, and it's bullshit music they're pushing. Well, really, they should be pushing, to your point, like a Sebastian Leger, fucking Josh Moog.
Right? If you're gonna say
the real shit,
Ibiza,
Phil
then
Weeks,
have Ibiza music, because fucking Marshmello doesn't go and play any Ibiza.
Or when he does, it's some cheesy private party or whatever.
Yeah, exactly, right? It's not like the actual, like, you don't hear Carl Cox on those fucking playlists. You don't hear the Josh Butlers, the junior.
The real deal shit, dirty snatches. You're funny. All right. So anyway, man, yeah, that's the deal. We'll probably continue talking about this for a while. And here, the other reason why I was very comfortable with removing the catalog from Spotify, and it's interesting. You said earlier, SoundCloud is a better spot to discover music, and I don't know, man. I think with NFTs,
powerful tools to find music, because I know I've been able to find like unknown artists really easily on SoundCloud, because it's so easy to just go, let's say, top 100 in Canada. Or top 100 Mississauga, and you can just find that shit really easily. So that's why it's so nice to just be able to be like, I want to fucking find some shit from Massachusetts, fucking top 100 Massachusetts. It's like some random stuff that you could just do those categories, and that's why it's so easy for up and coming artists to go on SoundCloud and to get discovered much easier than Spotify. Because Spotify is like Twitch. You need other platforms to go to Spotify, not the other way around. It's not like YouTube where you can grow on YouTube.
Yeah, I actually agree with you there. The thing with Spotify is you need a fucking marketing team that's actively playing streaming farms to boost your profile on
100%.
Or
fucking
French Montana. Somebody sucking whoever's dick who's running a playlist on Spotify to put your song in there. Yeah. I mean, I haven't had to do that, thankfully, and I do think, depending on who's working certain playlists at Spotify, some people actually do know what the fuck is going on, because I've never paid for that shit, and I've been included on Mark Kitchen's, playlist and some other higher profile playlists, just as a function of good music, I would like to think. So, but that's interesting. I actually agree with you. I'm not too sure if SoundCloud is going to be around too long, just because with NFTs and this new platform called Audius, which I signed up for already, it's using blockchain, right? Are you aware of Audius?
No.
Are you aware of Audius?
No.
Okay, so from a technical perspective, this is how it works. You sign up as an artist, you put your music up there, like an editor, whatever.
Yeah.
Still similar concept to SoundCloud, where you have followers, likes, and plays. But here's the major point of distinction that I both like about Audius, and it scares me a bit. From a copyright perspective, because your song, when you upload it, it's on multiple nodes, very similar to Bitcoin, Ethereum, or whatever, right? So if you show up with a copyright dispute, what happens, at least this is my understanding, is you can file the dispute, but their process encourages that the parties get together and figure the shit out before they take shit down, right? So they don't, where SoundCloud says, ooh, that sounds like this, and they immediately block it and take it down. Audius, there's a very structured, informed process, and then it goes up to, I think the last layer is a representative from Audius that's saying, hey, have you both parties discuss? Okay, cool. Here's what we're going to do about the copyright issue. So that both is encouraging and scary for me. It's encouraging for me from a artist and music listener perspective, because I know if I fall in love with something and I like it, it's not just going to immediately disappear on me, right?
Yeah.
Because of some copyright thing. But from a business and record label artist perspective, if someone has my shit up, and like, let's say it's some new shit that just got leaked, and they got it somehow, and it's up there, and they won't immediately take it down. Well, that's a problem for me.
I feel like that could actually backfire a lot on Audius. I feel like that could result in a major lawsuit of loss of revenue.
Yeah, and I may, I encourage people, do your research. I may have that wrong, but let me look this up now. Audius copyright.
Put the link down in the doc, and I'll just open it on my screen, so we can show what we're talking about.
Okay, hold on. I'm trying to find a link that talks about the dispute process specifically. Dispute. Oh yeah, here it is. How Audius handles. Where you want me to throw that in the chat?
Sure, yeah. Here, I'll pull it up.
Where's the chat window, man? You got rid of it?
No, my guy.
Oh, I could just message it to you here. I got you. You got it?
Yep. Okay, I got it right here. Give me a second.
All right. Yeah, share your screen and show that. I'm going to go through it as well. Yeah, this is directly from Audius.
Yeah, I have it right here.
Okay, so at the very here we go. However, Audius cannot decide to remove your content. Only you or the community via our arbitration system, which is coming soon. This is to protect our most vulnerable users. Dude, why are you moving the fucking thing? Like those in oppressive regimes who use music as a means of dissent and protest, and those who have been on the receiving end of illegitimate, frivolous, or hostile censorship on other platforms. So that's very interesting that they're, going to look to the community via their arbitration system to take this down. So very similar to what I said. When the arbitration system launches, Audius will have a network of neutral third-party arbitrators made up of community members voting on the outcomes of moderation cases. Audius's protocol is designed to find consensus around disputes, resolving them in an efficient, fair, and decentralized manner. More details around incentives, powering upload, and arbitration are laid out in our white paper section. So, I encourage people, go check this out. But this is the one thing have to say it worries me as a copyright holder.
I know
what do you think?
So, YouTube has a problem right now where essentially a lot of people are putting fake copyright claims, right?
Yep.
And that's something that can be troublesome, right? Because, let's say I could go ahead and put a copyright claim on, let's say, the Demuir videos. And it could, let's say you're earning money off that. And I could say, yeah, no, it's mine. And for 3-4 days, that revenue will not be going to you. Right? So if you release, let's say, a video on Monday and I copyright on Monday, you're not going to be getting money till Tuesday, which, that revenue at that moment will start going to me.
But don't they, if it's resolved and they find in my favor, don't they retroactively go back and say no?
No.
So what happens to that revenue loss?
It goes to the motherfucker that DMCA'd you.
Are you serious? That doesn't sound right, bro.
No, for the longest time it was like
that. I did not know that. That doesn't sound right at all. Like
for the if I'm correct, they're changing it now. But for the longest time, if I were to copyright claim you, the content would be taken down. Okay.
Right.
And B, if it's up, any revenue would go directly to me.
Wow.
It's fucking stupid.
Okay.
YouTubers were pissed about that because obviously it's like they were having a problem where people were just going copyright, and they were just fucking taking down or monetizing on someone else's content, right? So let's say we're doing a podcast, let's say I uploaded and I played 3 seconds of your song, I can go copyright strike. Okay. Any money generated by the video will go to me directly.
That's it. Okay. Wow. Okay. Well, so you find this Audius's approach, Screen Man, if you can throw that back up, you find what they've articulated here as fair and something that makes sense.
After seeing what YouTube has fucking had issues with in the past, you really have to look at it and you go, how bad
you gotta go back one. You're on this is not the screen. Yeah, here we go. So you like just to quote them here. This is why I wanted you to bring this back up. When they say, when the arbitration system launches, Audius will have a network of neutral third-party arbitrators made up of community members voting on the outcomes of moderation cases. So, I find that interesting. These are people who are not necessarily connected, so I get the power of neutrality there.
Yeah.
But the fact that they're not connected and don't really know the details, I just like, as a copyright owner, I'm just not sure. I'm open to it. I want to see how it plays out.
It's gonna be interesting, but it's one of those things where it's a hard line to do because on one hand, I think YouTube for the longest time fucked up with that whole system where you can just say, that's my music. Is it really? Yeah, 100%. And then they give you the money for it. I think that was really stupid.
Mm-hmm.
But on the other, you also have to see, the side of saying, okay, but if it actually is a legitimate copyright, you need to have a lot of staff to be able to constantly be like, oh yeah, this is true, this is false, this is true, this is false, right? So that can raise up, their expenses, and that at that point can make it an unviable business. So I see what they're trying to do, and what they're trying to do kind of makes sense. But the problem is it could also backfire greatly if someone goes, yeah, no, this is not how we're gonna do it from now on, right?
Well, okay. Well, we'll see how this goes, because the first track I uploaded there was my my edit of Cardi B and Meg Thee Stallion's WAP. So we'll see how that plays out.
Yeah,
but NFTs, I still think it's early days.
Oh, it's definitely early days, but people are getting excited about it because it's similar to Bitcoin. It's very decentralized, right?
Yeah.
Or to Ethereum.
Well, when the owner of Big, and I quote Dan Penna, you're probably related, man.
I know Dan Penna. I know who he is. Yeah.
Quote him: when the owner of Bitcoin comes out, the value is gonna shoot right down.
Yeah, that's one of the things that people fear, but fuck, man, it's just one of those things that you know, there's always gonna have to be a creator, right? Bitcoin doesn't just go magically exist, right? And you know, the reality is, as long as the creator doesn't come out, and a lot of these older guys that are just kind of somewhat understand what Bitcoin is, they go, when the owner comes out, this and that. Well, motherfucker, the owner hasn't come out in like 11 years. What makes you think he's going to actually come out now? He doesn't want to be associated with it, right?
You don't know. You don't know.
Yeah, but if he really wanted to be
associated, you don't know.
it
could happen,
right?
Listen, man. People will do things when it's to their benefit. That's just my own cynical belief, and that person just hasn't seen the opportunity where it makes sense for them to come forward with it.
Well, what do you think would have happened if it was that alleged Japanese guy?
I don't fucking know. I've seen that. Like this. Listen, this is a music industry podcast, so I'm not here to provide financial advice or anything of that nature. I'm just saying, listen, man, this shit is what it is. It always has an element of risk attached to it. But as far as its influence on creating these blockchain solutions like Audius, and a whole slew of them coming down the pipe that is going to affect the music industry. Like we've already, like something as small as Patreon only needed an event like a pandemic for it to blow the fuck up, and it ain't gonna go away. So
Patreon is here to stay for sure.
It's here to stay. Like I'm telling you, like that is it has caused me to say, okay, I'm only going to give X% of what I make to labels that I enjoy working with, because I'm done playing this fucking game of sign to a certain label and get chummy and do this bullshit and hope for gigs. Like, no, I'm not doing that anymore. My music is the asset. I don't fucking need to fucking pander to certain motherfuckers out there. I just don't need to do it.
But that's modern day. Everyone's pandering to something because everyone just wants to be at the top, right? But no one wants to put in the work. So they're gonna be like, maybe if I go and do this for them, maybe they'll like. That's just the mentality nowadays.
Yeah, that's true. Like, well, you're talking about your generation and the millennials, who a lot of which are impatient and want it now.
They don't want to work for shit, right? They go, maybe
I agree.
If I do this and all that, and that's one big problem I think we're gonna be having very soon, where these motherfuckers, it's one of those things where they go the Robin Hood mentality.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
They go. Yeah. You know how taxes started originally, right? They had that Robin Hood mentality saying tax the rich, and the government goes, yeah, but if we tax the middle class, we can make a lot more money too. So just one of those things where it can backfire really badly, and it will eventually when these motherfuckers are like, we want everything for free in the same way they had the Robin Hood mentality for taxes, right? We want these higher ups to pay for it, right?
Yeah.
And I think
it's definitely
will kill the music industry for a little while when these motherfuckers goes, we want the record labels to pay for our studio time, right?
Yeah. It's definitely an interesting time that we're in now, where I actually feel like, man, we got more than enough tools to empower people individually from an artist perspective to create their own platforms and put the work in. But a lot of people don't want to do that. They want the immediate gratification.
It's going to be a big issue, which I think is funny, because I think it'll make it easier for people like you and I that, wake up early, do work, try to grow a platform. It'll make it a lot easier for us to grow. Why? Because a lot of these motherfuckers, like a lot of the famous people now, will no longer be famous in 5-10 years. But a lot of these motherfuckers that are like, I want to do this one day, will never do it. Why? Because they're like, oh, I didn't get 100 views on my first video. Like, motherfucker, we didn't get constantly 100 plus views for after like a year of us doing this shit, We've been putting in work nonstop, right? Motherfuckers don't know what it's like to fucking go to your house, film, edit, thumbnail, and then upload all within 2 hours. They don't know what that's like, right? They don't know what that's like to do that shit twice a week, or to be like, okay, we got to film these days, we have this many videos, or even invest money in equipment, and dropping money on the NAS, on our desktops, on our laptops, and all that. Motherfuckers nowadays are like, I'll just do it on my phone. Like, yeah, you're not a perfectionist, so people are not gonna give a fuck about you, right? If you're not a perfectionist, who the fuck are you? Or you're just part of the 99%, not the 1%.
There's an old adage like where they talk about a scenario where if you were to remove all of the money that the rich had and put it in the hands of the poor, check back in 6 months and a year from then, you'll likely have those people who were rich become rich again.
Yeah.
And those who were poor remain poor.
100%. No, the thing is,
so
there's a study, I forgot who did it, but they said, the poor will actually get even more poor because they'll use that money to put down payments on shit they can't afford.
Yeah.
Right? It's just
it's really interesting. I mean, it's all, I think the point we're hitting on here from a music industry perspective is, just in general, is just, you can't get around the work, man.
No, the work,
and
motherfuckers are lazy.
You cannot and will not get around the work.
No, never. Right? And people just don't want to put in that work. So, and then they get mad when, their YouTube videos aren't, what we are right now, right? They're like, oh, you're so far ahead, this and that. That's too much work. Well, motherfucker, maybe you started someday that would actually do you wonders.
But it'll be interesting, and I think we kind of answered our own question. So as it pertains to NFTs, no, I don't think it's going away. I do think, purchasing digital work and albums, like that's a super rich man's game right now, an unnecessary game. I mean, whatever, it's out there, but there's going to be the whole practicality of having your content uniquely distributed and you own it and people are buying into it versus corporate platforms owning the shit, like a SoundCloud, for example, like a Spotify, for example, and I'll even throw Apple and Amazon in there. Like these components offer those opportunities to people. Yeah. So it'll be interesting. And, we just got to keep it moving. And that's what I'm doing with Purveyor Underground and just the other things we're vested in right now.
I think the whole work and all that we're talking about leads perfectly into our last topic of the day, which is the actual pandemic wind down. I think as it's winding down, you're going to see who took this time to do nothing and who took the time to do something. Right?
Oh, for
who
sure.
Who grew their platform and who didn't do anything because they're like, oh, I'll just wait for it to come back. We're about to see, you know how they said the rich are just going to get richer and, the poor is going to poorer? I think it's one of those things where those who put in the work are just going to fucking skyrocket and those who didn't want to do anything just plummet.
The thing I find very interesting about this industry is, like, as things have been announced that they are coming back, a lot of people are just doing the same shit.
Yeah, pre-pandemic. They need to get creative with it.
And it's obvious they're not even aware of all of the material changes and things that are happening.
Nothing's the same, right? And for a while, nothing will be the same. And I think in the reality, it'll be back to the topic of people working. Motherfuckers that just go and do a stream, that's less than dime a dozen, right?
Yeah.
Right.
I do think streaming, like similar to what we were talking about with Patreon, that's not going away.
No,
that's $1 billion market.
I'm saying for musicians, like streaming, like DJ sets.
Yeah.
Like, come on, you got to do it interesting, right? You got to do something different, right? In the same way that we found a way to make masterclasses and courses and all this to help artists grow. As an artist, you should find a way to make your work stand out, right? Most of these motherfuckers I've met don't even have a fucking website, right? They don't even have a portfolio. Like, fuck, bro, go sign up for Adobe. It's like $20 a month and you get a fucking website and fucking Photoshop or some other shit, right? And you get a whole portfolio website that's made there. You just send a link to, and there's all your work, all the references and all that, right? Or go sign up for Squarespace. Put in that little bit of money. It's one of those things that I said. My generation, they don't want to put in that work. They don't want to put in that time, right? They're not even putting portfolios up, right? They don't even have shit to show, right? They're just like, they're gonna know me, and it's just stupid, right? Like you need to put in a lot of work. And I think as the pandemic is winding down, you'll see this. So before, let's say the people that were working, right? And the people that are not working right here, right? So before the people are working just a little bit ahead. And then as it's starting to wind down, it'll go like this. It'll split up. The people that were putting in that work, that got that little edge will just exponentially multiply. And the people that didn't put in work will just be left at the bottom. They will not go up, but instead they will go down because now people aren't even focusing on those. They'll be focusing on these.
Yeah, history, if you look to history, it proves that point. So, it'll be interesting to see. I just know from observation, a lot of the same bullshit going on, but in the same 4 or 5 motherfuckers on every bill. And this is post George Floyd. You'd think some people learned some shit by now, but whatever.
It's one of the things that
it's all good.
The U.S. is going to get more divided with Biden. It's one of the things. It's funny because for me, the way I saw it was Biden was going to be a way to kind of reunite the country because a lot of Republicans, although ignore the Capitol Hills again, that's the minority of the minority, right? In the reality, there's always that fucking group of people. In the same way, there was the rioters that broke into stores and stole shit. Those were the minority, right? That's how I saw it. I didn't see all of an organization as the fucking thieves, and I didn't see all of the Republicans as fucking lunatics that ran with fucking mask and a helmet, right? But I think the reality is, in terms of this politics, I think the country's going to get more divided. The way I see it right now is fucking, what's his name? Biden. The moment that he fucking got elected, I swear he dumped Black Lives Matter. I was looking at it like, bro, what happened to that whole shit that you were doing, the whole spiel you were doing about it, right? And that's one of those things where I'm like, I feel like this is just gonna get more divided because it's gonna go, three categories: Republicans, the guy in the middle, and then the hardcore Biden supporters. And I think it's just gonna split up even harder.
I think it's way too early right now. They've had to focus on getting their hands around Corona. I'm not supporting Biden. I'm looking at this from a business perspective. Your major problem is Corona. People are dying. Everybody's being affected. It's affecting the economy.
Here's the thing,
blah 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 blah.
Dying. Like realistically.
Well, in the States,
by percentage, it's we're talking more drunk driving accidents than we're talking Corona.
You can compare it to the flu and all that. All I'm saying is, in the minds of people in the U.S. and across the world, like it's being marketed, Corona is a big fucking issue, and they didn't have any relief package, so he had to put his attention to that. So now that bill is passed, and the other genius thing I think he did was he just opened up. He said everyone gets a fucking vaccine.
Yeah,
we're not going to do this huge thing. I wish Canada would do that. I know, actually.
So they went from 90 and above to 80 and above. But one thing that he's doing that I see that's going to really rile people up is he's taking advantage of this. Do you not see what the EPS is doing?
Sorry, what are you talking? He being Trudeau?
Oh, Biden.
What are you talking? Biden. Yeah.
It's one of those things that this is going to really split people up, okay? If I split people up, I'm going to say it's going to turn people against the government, which is not good because if everyone's against the government, it's one of those things that nothing can thrive at the same time, right? For automobiles, he's putting restrictions to a point where you can't touch it. You can't do anything to it.
Okay, bro, I'm not.
No, I'm saying.
I don't want to talk about it. Like, I don't want to fucking talk. This is a fucking music podcast, bro. Like,
hold on.
What the fuck are you talking?
Hold on. It's chill. So the other thing that is concerning me too is so that's just an example, is the regulations he's going to be putting into companies now. Just look at the way Congress is grilling companies like Facebook and Google and all these companies. Every little thing they're grilling them about. What's going to happen when it's very restricted? The music industry, sooner or later, the RIAA is going to fucking have an issue. Or worse yet, the RIAA is going to do something to the record labels. They're going to fucking put some next restriction on DMCA. Because, the RIAA, they're a bunch of government bureaucrats. Right? That's at the end of it. They're not musicians. They're not. They're government bureaucrats. Right? And they love that shit, right? The RIAA got started by fucking moms. Right?
All right.
So I think politics is gonna dictate a lot of how the industry is gonna move forward, and I think restrictions on COVID is gonna be very interesting. Because do you see Texas no longer needing masks?
Yeah, that's just fucked up. That was the governor saying whatever. And doing that amidst the the fact that they had like a crazy winter storm and people are out of power and all that. Like, what a dumbass decision, but whatever. That's a whole other thing.
Well, you see, Miami's basically fully opened up.
Yeah, but Ultra's canceled. That's not happening.
It's not the worst thing in the world.
I mean, they do. Florida and Miami are just like what what Georgia is to Atlanta. Like pockets of just full out open shit when this thing is really out there. You know, it's not a joke. COVID. So anyway,
it'll be interesting. I think over the next 6 months, I think you're gonna see a lot of industries thrive and a lot of industries just collapse.
Most definitely. I need to wind this one out. I think that was a lot. We covered everything, or we can say some juice for the next one.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I think
a good conversation
talk about the black culture. I think is gonna be an interesting one for the next one in music.
Yeah, we can talk about culture as it pertains to underground electronic music and all of that.
Yep.
If you haven't had enough and you want some more of the stuff, be sure to check us out on our YouTube, our Discord, obviously, and
if you
have our Patreon,
be on here, shoot us a message on Discord, and we might get you on the next one.
Yeah, well, no, for sure. We're going to be doing interviews with people on this. I really like how this is the smoothness of this, and the ease of it. So
yeah, it's been pretty good.
Yeah, we're going to be doing more of these.
More opinions of people, talking about how their struggles are in the music industry. All right.
Word up. So much love and respect to you. Let us know your thoughts on this podcast. If you happen to be watching the content, because it's on video as well, or if you're just listening to the audio version, let us know what's up. Love to hear your thoughts, and we welcome it. Much love and respect to you. Peace.